What happened in the year 2022? Welcome to Explain Like I'm 10 in this very special episode, which is a little unusual from the usual. This is the year end episode, and by the time you hear this, it will be next year, I think 2 days later. So, Happy New Year, friends! Happy New Year,
Thank you.
and
Happy
I
New Year
hope,
to you as well.
yeah.
Happy New Year.
And as you can
We
see, I
made it.
have you made it, and Niveditha made it too, and I made it too, and every one of our listeners have made it too.
Yep.
And I mean, I guess, but
It's a big deal.
um, it's a big deal. It's a very
It's a
big deal.
big deal.
Yeah, and congratulations to all. Today we have with us two union leader of spectators. So technically, none of them are leaders today because it's two. So
Yeah.
we have Abbas Momin and we
Hello.
have Niveditha Prakasam. Hello,
What's
hello,
going
hello.
on?
And what we are going to do is we are going to review the year 2022. So what
Let's
I've
do it.
done, yeah, what I've done is I have written two events for each month of the last year. I'm going to read out those events like a script, and you guys are going to react to it, or if you had to add anything in the particular month, you will tell me. Other than that, before this recording, I told you to choose two events which you thought were important in the
Yeah.
year 2022. So we are going to see if any of those events come up when my whole thing happens, right?
Sure.
Otherwise, you will tell me at the end of this podcast. Cool.
Cool.
So let us begin. Starting with January 2022. In Firozpur district, Punjab, protesters blocked the road that the Prime Minister's convoy was on, causing a major security lapse. They forced him to wait for 20 whole minutes and then forced him to turn back without attending any events. The government freaked out and started pointing fingers, with the Union Home Minister chiming in saying that this kind of thing is not okay. Political parties got up in arms, and some accused Congress and the protesters, who were farmer protesters, of trying to physically harm the prime minister.
Mhm.
He went back to the airport and he said certain things which also alluded to him being physically harmed. Other than that, well, everybody just generally slammed the state government for not keeping up with the security protocol. Do you guys remember this event?
Yes, very clearly. So the phrase that I think that went viral was something along the lines of "शुक्र करो मैं जिंदा वापस आ गया" or something
Yes,
along
shukar
those
karo main
lines.
zinda. That's exactly what he said at
Yeah,
the airport.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was before the Punjab elections, so that was the
Yes.
context. He
Hmm.
was going to do like a bunch of inaugurations and whatever. Okay. Second event.
Hmm.
21-year-old dude called Neeraj Bishnoi made an app that secretly put Muslim ladies up for a bid. He did a live stream auctioning these popular women, causing, well, legitimate outrage. In January, Neeraj was arrested along with two others. The app was called Bully Deals. No,
Hmm.
sorry, the app was called Bully Buy. It was a copycat of Sully Deals, which was an app which was released earlier. So Neeraj here used the handle Liberal Doge to do all of this.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, Virat Brave youths like him often use anonymous handles to do such things for the betterment of this society. So that is the event number two.
Yeah.
I remember that very clearly. It was like a lot of people knew. The scary part about that was that a lot of people knew girls that were on it. That's what was so. If like it really hit home, didn't it? Like because
Hmm.
people are like, oh, this is somebody I know that's whose privacy has been breached,
Yeah.
and then made
Right.
people even angrier. It was just like, oh, this now it's getting personal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite an ugly episode, I remember. So there's a Twitter user by the name of at Sidra P. I think her name is Sidra Patel,
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
lodged a complaint. And but this was also one of the few cases where I think the Mumbai police or the Maharashtra police actually acted quite fast, and
Hmm.
somebody I
The
think I
Delhi police was the one that arrested him, and I think the Mumbai police was active in the earlier case, which was the Sulli
okay,
deals case.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. So I don't know if the mastermind was caught for this, but somebody related to this was nabbed and
Hmm.
was picked up for this. So yeah, but yeah, it was quite ugly, and I remember quite a lot of women who were quote unquote auctioned off in this app then eventually just quit social media because they
Yeah,
they
they
they,
Yeah.
did.
they, they saw that their safety was being compromised. So yeah, one of the uglier starts to the year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. January 2022.
Hmm.
There was also a few more incidents that happened, which I didn't really. I'll just mention them. Do you remember Tech Fog happened in
Oh, that
January?
was this year.
Yeah, the wires. So the wire
Yeah.
released a report saying that BJP IT cell was using a secret Tech Fog app,
Correct.
essentially to manipulate trends, etc.
Mm.
But now that report has been taken down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Because the reporter who did this also did another story which turned out to be fake later. So
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that event is in your list of
hmm,
the notable events that happened, but something with the wire that happened which led to questions about the authenticity of these reports then eventually affected this. In hindsight, people were like, was the tech fog
yeah,
thing also even
yeah,
real or not? So yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
yeah. And I had interviewed the two authors of this piece, and mera
Oh,
bhi
okay.
interview for News Laundry had to take down because then
Oh,
the original story was taken down. So what is the
correct.
interview for? So it
Mm.
was ridiculous. Okay. So any other events that you remember? What were you doing in January?
So Nivedha, you want to start?
I don't want to answer any of these questions because it was horrible time for me. But I just
Oh,
moved to Bombay, so I was moving into a new place and stuff like
Oh,
that. Yeah.
I got COVID for the first time in January.
Me
Because
oh,
too. Yeah,
yes.
that was my highlight. I moved to Bombay and I got COVID immediately.
yeah, so that happened.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten COVID yet, which is
Really?
yeah. No,
I
I
feel like
haven't.
you guys were like not like either immune to it or what do they call that? When you don't show symptoms?
Immune, yeah, immune,
Asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic, right?
asymptomatic.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I explained it to myself and then I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had symptoms a bunch of times, but whenever I tested, it was negative. So I don't know. Maybe
Hmm.
it's like false negatives.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Hmm.
Moving on to February of the year 2022. So CBI registered a case against this company called ABG Shipyard, a Gujarat-based firm, for carrying out the biggest loan fraud in the history of India. ABG Shipyard apparently cooked up a bunch of fake transactions to cheat a group of banks, including big names like SBI and ICICI, out of 22,800 crore rupees between 2012 and 2017. ABG Shipyard availed mainly three different types of loans from a consortium of 28 banks. The monies raised through these loans were then diverted through 98 sister concerns and mainly used to create personal assets. The promoter Rishi Agrawal was arrested later in September. Did you guys know about this event?
No, I have no recollection of this.
No, no idea.
Yeah, this was actually a very big story, but not many people know about it. And I'm
Hmm.
Yeah.
actually, when I look at it in hindsight, I was like, इस पे किसी ने ज़्यादा outrage नहीं किया था तब. I was like,
Yeah.
क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे?
Yeah.
Um, then there was the second event, which was, of course, the Karnataka hijab row. That
Yeah.
Hmm.
happened in February.
Right.
A big dispute broke out about students wearing hijabs and saffron scarves in schools. Some Muslim girls wanted to wear hijabs to class, but were told they couldn't because of the school's uniform policy, which applied to all students regardless of religion. This caused a bunch of protests, and the government got involved by issuing orders saying that uniforms had to be worn no matter what.
Hmm. Hmm.
The whole thing ended up in court. and there was a long hearing. The court eventually ruled that that hijabs weren't an essential religious practice and could be banned in schools. This decision was met with criticism from a bunch of human rights groups and countries, but also had defenders from
Mm.
within India
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
this has to be done. In the end, the ban was implemented, and students and teachers had to take off their hijabs and burqas outside schools before entering, which the media went nuts with. They were showing
hmm,
like these images of teachers coming and
yeah,
removing their hijabs. So that happened in
yeah. February.
February. Yeah.
That was
The
pretty terrible. I remember it. Mm.
the court ruling actually came out in March though. So this
Mm.
happened in February. So yeah.
Okay. I think those visuals were quite disturbing for me, at least, to watch students disrobe in any way before entering the school. Uh,
Mm,
and I think this was again for the first time. It was like there is no ban on women wearing hijab on the streets. Like if they want, they
mm,
can. It's the educational institutes who are implementing this particular thing, and so it was one of those debates again of where does the line where is the line of essential practices and choice and all of that. So
yeah.
I think in many colleges still in Karnataka this is a problem, and
Yeah.
it is quite unfortunate that uh, you know any individual, whether man or woman, wanting education has to dress a certain way or not dress a certain way for that to happen. So that's what I think. What do you think, Nivedita? I mean, we briefly spoke about this on an episode of Page 10
Abhi,
when we were.
just
Huh.
Yes, we
Nivedita,
did
you
speak about
had
this.
brought the
Yeah,
story,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
of
yeah.
the Iran women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we did speak about this, but yeah, that's my take, that it's a little heartbreaking to
It
see these
is.
kind of
It is.
things.
It
Yeah.
absolutely is, and it should not have happened. But we live in this world.
But Meghnad, so I remember when the girls went to court, a lot of people were saying it's definitely gonna come out in their favor,
Yeah.
because
Mm,
up till, I mean, as far as the legal experts said, that in cases like this, it often went in favor of the in previous cases it went in
mm,
favor of the person who wanted to dress as they wanted. But
yeah.
in this case, it didn't. So that was a little
So they
uh,
ruled that it's not an essential religious
right,
practice. Yeah,
right.
which is, I mean, I don't know exactly how they ruled
Yeah.
that
How
or
do you come to a
whether.
Yeah,
conclusion
yeah.
of whether
Yeah,
it's essential
exactly.
or not?
Yeah, and because of this, I remember there was one case within Karnataka itself where, again, there is a sect of Sikhism, I think, where even the women wear turbans. So one of
Yeah.
one of the female students was asked to take the turban off. So
Mm.
Mm.
it's again one of those things where one case will affect the other also.
The other.
So yeah,
Also, there
yeah,
were like these stories of saffron scarves being distributed to boys and girls,
yeah,
Hindu
yeah,
boys
yeah,
and girls, who
yeah.
were wearing that. And then the school administration said you can't wear that either. So then they had to take those off also. But then they did it deliberately
Mm,
again and again. And
right.
another thing I remember about this, there was this
Mm.
video that came out of this girl in hijab going into class, and this crowd of boys just coming and
Yeah, yeah,
heckling her.
yeah, yeah.
That was
Yep.
scary.
That was
I,
scary. And there was a controversy around that also, because these boys were chanting Jai Shri Ram, then the
They were.
girl chanted Allahu Akbar, and then there were
mm,
some people from, again, within the liberal intelligentsia saying, why didn't she say Jai Hind? Why did she have to say Allahu Akbar?
oh
So
my
yeah,
god.
it's just about people
But
love to tell other people what to say and
But
how
you
to
gotta
say.
you gotta give that girl props for being so brave in
Yeah,
that moment to be able to
Yeah,
retaliate like that.
yeah,
She was angry. She wasn't
yeah.
afraid in that. She
Mm,
was angry and she let it show.
mm,
And I just gotta say, it's really hard to stand against people like that. I mean,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
mm.
people said that was rowdy. I don't think that was rowdy. That was rebellious. There's a
Yeah. And
difference.
it was quite interesting.
She was
It was
being attacked
inspirational.
and she defended herself.
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Also, so another thing, a few things that happened in February. Lata Mangeshkar and Bappi Lahiri passed away
yeah,
in the same month. Uh, I mean, worldwide, of course, it affected India also. Russia invaded Ukraine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then UP, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Goa, Manipur elections happening.
Hmm.
Results came out next month, which
Right.
is what the March story is about. The first
Okay.
event.
Mhm.
The results for Legislative Assembly elections held in 5 states were declared. BJP won by beating incumbency in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, and Manipur. In Punjab, Aam Aadmi Party registered a decisive victory over ruling Indian National Congress.
Hmm. Hmm.
Former comedian Bhagwant Mann
Yes.
was sworn in as the Chief Minister of Punjab. Did you guys feel jealous?
I actually felt happy. I was like, for once, because you know what? Even these news people, they are so clever because they started playing recordings of when Bhagwant Mann used to perform in front of Sidhu and Sidhu was judging. And they were like, देखिए
Yes.
कैसे पाया पलटती है अब सिद्धू कहाँ है और भगवंत मान कहाँ है. So that was quite
Laughter
funny.
challenge, right?
Yes, laughter challenge.
But it also makes you a little worried to think about how much power a mic can hold.
Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
you're something as silly as a comedian, how much power you hold when you hold a mic.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
I remember Bhagwant Mann doing this very weird thing where he took his camera inside the parliament premises and he was shooting the security and he was clearly drunk. Like you could hear it and you could see that he's like shaking his camera and doing this, and then he got suspended for it.
Oh.
It was, I think, 2 years before this. Like, I think around COVID. I'm not sure when it happened, but it
Hmm.
was like
Hmm.
this bizarre video that I saw, which happened. But yeah, so BJP got back Uttar Pradesh, guys,
Yeah,
this year.
yeah. Yeah, I
And
remember. Yeah, go ahead.
no, just Yogi Ji came back to power.
Yeah, I remember everybody saying that we all saw how funeral pyres were burning on the street.
Hmm.
So this is definitely not, he's not going to win. But then at the end of the day, yeah, once again, the BJP proved that come what may, they know the secret to winning elections.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I covered all of these elections. This was by
Mm,
far my favorite election coverage trip. Went
Oh.
to all the states except
mm,
Manipur. But wahan pe, like, I went from Delhi to Uttar Pradesh with the opinion that you just expressed. But the moment I was on the ground and I started talking to people, I was like, "नहीं boss,
mm.
ये कुछ तो गड़बड़ है यहाँ पे हमारे views नहीं match हो रहे." And well, the results showed.
Yeah.
Okay, event number 2. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kashmir Files was released.
Oh.
Oh man.
It's a movie that
Uh,
depicts the Kashmiri Pandit exodus of 1990. This movie is directed and produced by Vivek Agnihotri of the Facts Are Not Facts fame.
of course. Yeah.
Many accused Agnihotri for exploiting and exaggerating the tragedy, but Vivek said he only based it on facts. It caused a stir in the media due to its alleged Islamophobia and potential to incite violence. Despite the criticism, the film was endorsed by the Indian Prime Minister, who praised it for exposing the suppressed truth. Many of BJP ruled states gave it tax breaks also and made it tax free so that more people can watch it.
Mm.
Kashmir Files happened this year. I was And then later another controversy happened about that, right? Which
Yeah.
is
Yep.
Yeah.
recently about the
Recently,
Recently,
Kashmir
yeah.
thing.
yes.
Yeah. Did you guys end up seeing Kashmir Files?
I never watched it.
I have been tempted a couple of times, but I haven't watched it yet. Because for the simple reason that I want to comment on films like this, and it's only fair that you need to see the film in order to
Yes.
Yeah.
comment on it.
Mm.
But I don't know. I still haven't seen it. I refuse to watch it on principle, but I might someday. I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah. I'm resisting it so far. What was a little uncomfortable was these videos that popped up where, at least in some smaller towns, as soon as the film ended, these sadhus would show up
Hmm.
for the crowd कि आपने देखा क्या क्या हुआ है, तो अब समय आ गया है कि हम भी वस्त्र, we all start stocking up with weapons and all of that. and that was quite scary because I think the movie theater is one of the last bastions where you can go and completely lose yourself and feel safe. कि हाँ यहाँ
Hmm.
तो मतलब there's no hierarchy or ऊंचा नीचा here, but using cinema as this tool of propaganda at least that's what I feel this film is. It was quite heartbreaking, but it is what it is. It film made money, and I think at the end of the day I still think that what worked in the film's favor was the story of the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits has not
Hmm.
been portrayed as much in popular culture, Indian popular culture, as let's say some other stories have. So I think
Hmm.
he definitely struck a chord there, and which is why I think the film worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Uh,
going to say. I think one of the stories that has not been told
yeah,
as
yeah,
often
yeah,
is the story of
hmm.
the Kashmiri Pandit
yeah.
Exodus.
And it's not that old. Like it's
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 not
it's the
old at all.
80s, which is not
People
that
our
far back.
age
Yeah, exactly.
remember it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
Hmm.
it's almost like, wow, I wish this was told by a person who went through it
yeah.
in a way
Hmm.
that was a little more.
Which didn't happen. Vivek Agnihotri did not go
Yeah,
through it,
yeah,
but
exactly.
it is what it
Which
is.
is why it's so important for people to be able to tell their own stories
Yeah.
instead of have someone else say it in a way that didn't happen.
Mm,
It's much more effective when it's honest,
mm.
because
Hmm.
it doesn't have so much hate filled in it. It's a more empathetic narration. But I'm not sure. See, even I've not watched the movie, and one of the reasons I didn't watch the movie is because I'd have to comment on it, and this is one thing I don't want to comment on, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No, I
because I don't
get
know
that. I
enough.
haven't
Yeah, I
I
don't
haven't
know enough.
seen it either. But the
Mm.
interesting thing about this is, so I was looking up the 1990s Exodus during this time only.
Yeah.
There was only one TV channel, which was the state broadcaster, which was DD News, right? So there was
Mm,
no private TV channel to show the
mm.
kind of visuals that we saw later when tragedies happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there was no real private journalism also happening, except newspapers, of course, were there. But other than that, TV was not a thing, and it was completely state controlled. So there is a bunch of criticism that can be laid there as well, where
Yeah.
the government sort of did not show these things. And I was working with News Laundry, who was founded by Madhu Trehan, who
Right.
started the first private TV, matlab video news thing, which is
Yeah,
called News Track. So
yeah.
it was on VHS tapes. So they
Mm,
covered the Exodus
mm,
completely.
mm, mm.
So right now there are videos on News Laundry showing the what actually happened. So you should
Yeah,
watch it if you are
yeah,
interested.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Mm.
Okay, moving on to April
Mm,
2022. Okay. In early April 2022, communal violence erupted in four Indian states: Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. This happened during processions on 10th April 2022 on the occasion of Hindu festival Ram Navami. Dozens of people were injured, including police officers. At least one person was killed in Gujarat. The violence was triggered mostly because some stone pelting was reported during the Ram Navami processions and rallies. In other places, while there was no violence, provocation and jeering during the Ram Navami Yatra led to tensions in many parts. In a connected event, there was also a dispute between the student union of JNSU, sorry, and the BJP student body ABVP over non-veg meals being served on Ram Navami Day at Jawaharlal Nehru University. It turned violent, and 16 students were injured in the beating by both sides. I remember this was happening for quite some time, no,
mm.
for a few days, and that there was like random images of violence coming from all across the country. It's really sad how something like a festival, which is a celebration of a deity, is becoming something like a, I don't know, self-aggrandizing event, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I was about to say things are so bad that all communal clashes have fused into one in my head. I'm like, didn't something happen during Dasera also? So,
That's
it's just
true.
it's just sad that way. But I
It's
don't.
like अभी दांडिया खेलते वक्त भी कुछ हुआ था
Yes, yes, yes.
गुजरात में. I know
Mm,
what you mean. I know what you mean.
mm.
I'm confusing when what happened. I
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
That's horrible. Horrible.
Mm,
Okay, event two, or anybody has to say anything?
Let's go move on. Event two.
Yeah, event two. A heat wave hit India and Pakistan and resulted in the hottest summer in India since 1901. 90
Mhm.
deaths were reported. The average maximum temperature of March 2022 has been the highest for all of India. It crossed 33.1 degrees Celsius average. The total number of days which experienced heat waves was up to 203. For comparison, the last highest was 174 in 2019. So heat waves are essentially defined as when the temperature goes up above 40 degrees in plains and 30 degrees in hilly areas.
Mhm.
I remember and this one was very evident because for the last 2 years when lockdown happened, everything was like the summer was so pleasant.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, what? And that's why it became very noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one. And
Yeah.
I was looking up the stats, and this was very interesting. So 2019 was the last comparison, 174, and then
Mhm.
2022. Beach May, the average days went down to 46 and 41. That much of a difference.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's insane. Because I was just talking to someone about this last time I came to Bombay. I mean, when I just moved to Bombay in the beginning of this year, December it had already started raining. Like they had like some it was raining for like the first few days of December,
Mhm.
and then the temperature just dropped, and then it stayed in that position, like in that level for
Yeah.
the next 3 months until March. I think it was pretty
Mhm.
Hmm,
cold in Mumbai. It wasn't
Mhm.
hot at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
Then
hmm.
the temperature rose. Now it's still so hot in Bombay.
Yeah, we're in
It's mid
December,
December, yeah, and it's
and
still
we're still in the mid 30s.
yeah, it feels like it's summer right now, especially in the
In mid
mornings.
30s?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
What?
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
It's insane.
It's very hot right now in
It's so
Bombay.
hot in Bombay right
And
now.
just listening to your both those stories of April, I was like, कि एक तो इंसान इंसान को मार रहा है because communal clashes, and if that's not the climate is also gonna kill you.
Damn,
So
it is
it's
also
like,
killing.
So when we were saying we made it, we weren't kidding.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
true.
that's
We
true.
actually survived this year.
Yeah,
The
But
year's trying to kill us.
it's crazy, Like, I mean, 90 people died, huh? Like, Pakistan
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
and
yeah.
India may included.
Hmm.
It's just like heat waves and people died. And I think
Hmm.
in Europe also during the same time there was a
Oh
heat wave as
yes.
well,
Now I
right?
remember people in England were making videos of their ice cream melting, which apparently they had never experienced because they were just used to walking around with their ice creams, and for the first time, ice cream was falling down their hands.
That
So
was
yeah,
Yeah.
hilarious. The whole world made fun of them for it, but I just found it so amusing. Yeah.
And so I don't know what will happen this year, matlab next year technically, 2023. I am not
yeah,
looking forward to it, but yeah.
It's like
Moving
people
on
have
to
started
yeah.
revenge traveling because they didn't travel for the past
Yes,
2 years.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's also
that's true.
happened.
That's also true. Like this year,
Yeah.
like December end is like everybody's out of their house and
yeah,
going
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
That's happening. Moving on to May 2022,
Mhm.
a spokesperson named Nupur Sharma from
Oh my
BJP
god.
made
Yeah.
inflammatory comments about Prophet Muhammad on Times Now during a
Mhm.
debate on the Gyanvapi mosque issue. This led to outrage in India and several Gulf countries. There were threats made to boycott Indian goods in Muslim countries. The Indian government responded to this controversy by stating that the remarks did not reflect the government's views, but were made by some fringe elements.
Of course,
BJP
yes.
suspended Sharma from the party. I remember this so starkly.
Of course. So, spoiler alert, this was one of the two news pieces that I picked when you told me to pick two.
Nice. Oh,
And for yeah, two eventful things from
Oh no, were
2022.
we supposed to reveal it? I forgot to
I mean,
reveal mine.
now that he's
But okay.
mentioned it, I was like, why not? And
yeah,
the reason I picked it is that this whole cycle was so crazy because, like you said, firstly, to the government itself calling their spokesperson a fringe element,
Yeah.
which I
yeah,
don't know if it has ever happened.
Yeah.
Secondly, the whole thing of it was an example of when the BJP takes a stance of sort of alienating a whole community. if something like that becomes an international issue, then they are in this catch 22 situation where they have to pacify the Arab nations, but also keep their standing as this Virat, right wing
Hmm.
party in the country itself.
Mm.
And thirdly, it led to that very tragic incident of a tailor being beheaded by these two men.
Oh,
Uh,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
you know,
yeah.
which so this whole cycle was so crazy. Where I was like, all said and done, in India, religion is still such a fragile subject
Yeah.
that it can
Hmm.
lead to all these kind of problems. And yeah, it was very, those few days, I think it was very, I was very scared about, because all said and done, somehow things went back to some sort of normalcy,
Hmm.
but it
Hmm.
could have flared up at any point, and it could have taken the whole nation down with it. So
Oh,
I was really,
absolutely.
yeah, I was really concerned about those few days when this happened. So that's why I picked this as, the, like, when I think back to 2022, this is one of the things I will think about.
Yeah.
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 Nivedita, was this your event also?
No, no, I forgot to reveal it, but it was the hijab
Oh, but
controversy
was it
because
in either
we
of
did,
these that I read?
yeah, the hijab controversy.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So yeah, that was your first event. Good. Yeah.
But we did talk about it a little bit.
yeah,
That's it. Like I
yeah,
didn't
Yeah.
reveal it,
So
but
yeah.
yeah,
Fair enough. So I
yeah,
have scored 2 points, but
yeah,
yeah,
let's
true.
see if I
yeah.
get your other two events also. But yeah, I remember this being a crazy news cycle also, because I was
Yeah.
obviously watching the news, and it was outrageous, like the kind of coverage that was happening in this. And Times Now also distanced itself
Exactly.
from
Yes, yes,
from
yes.
this, and they didn't even mention where it happened, what happened. They just
Yeah,
gave a
yeah, yeah.
generic statement condemning the remarks. It was
So
bizarre.
I remember Manisha did an episode of Nuisance on this, where she actually played a series of clips where Nupur Sharma said the similar kind of things on other news
Yes.
channels, but the
Hmm.
host stopped her just when she
Hmm.
was about to go into that dangerous territory. They
Hmm.
chimed, all said and done, whatever they are Godi media or whatever.
Hmm.
Most hosts chimed in and stopped her at that moment.
Hmm.
But our Times Now anchor didn't do that. She just gave
Yeah.
her free rein and let her say what she did. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's also a lesson for the media to learn from this. Yeah.
I think
Yep.
that was her fourth debate she was doing on the
Yeah.
same day.
Yeah.
And three debates before that, she said the same thing, but she was
Same
stopped.
thing.
Then
Yeah, she was
Navika
stopped.
was like, "Nahi, theek hai, chalo. Kya hi kar rahi?" And so that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there is another, well, minor event after this, which is in the beginning of May 2022, deadly floods hit northeastern India and Bangladesh.
Mm.
Over 6 lakh people in India were affected, and around 150 people were killed. 40% of the state was affected by the floods.
Hmm.
And this was by far the worst that this area, Assam, has seen. Assam obviously is known for
Yeah.
floods, but this year was especially bad. I think it's
Mm.
also, again, signs of extreme weather events due
Yeah.
to climate change.
Mm.
It's also tragic how it happens every year.
That's
Uh,
Yeah.
what people
That's
were
what.
talking about when it happened. They said, always there are certain states that are just ignored because it's
hmm,
almost as if we can't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't see it, you don't feel like you have to fix it. If it isn't
yeah,
happening to you, it isn't happening at all, sort of thing. That happens a
that's
lot. Every
true.
time it happens in the south. This happens.
Yeah.
It's it's just India is too big. Like I don't think we've covered it properly. As in, some of us really are like ignored in that sense. You just
Mm.
like
Hmm.
to each his own.
Mm.
But also the normalization is scary, which
Yeah.
is
Mm,
हर साल ही तो होता है, तो फिर the news coverage is also like, it's so boring, every year it happens. But this year it
mm.
was especially bad.
It was
That's
very
why I
bad.
thought I wanted to
Mm.
include both the heat wave and this in the list as well.
When it's not that bad, people take care of it themselves, actually.
Mm.
No one asks for help. It's only when it gets that bad and it crosses that threshold that people start asking for help, especially in states like Assam,
Mm.
Kerala, Tamil Nadu, places like this. People just take care of things until like it
Yeah,
gets out of hand.
absolutely. um Moving on to June 2022.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Chairman of Ceylon Electricity Board made revelations that Prime Minister Narendra Modi pressurized Sri Lanka for handing over a 500 megawatt wind power project in Mannar district to Adani Green Energy. The CEB chairman, his name is MMC Ferdinando, stated that he was summoned by the president after a meeting and told about Modi's insistence that the wind power plant project should be given to Adani. When he refused, the president went to the treasury secretary to make it happen. 2 days later, after these revelations came out, the CEB chairman retracted his statement and quit, saying that he got very emotional during the committee meeting and said these things. President of Sri Lanka, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, categorically denied these outrageous allegations. You guys remember this happening?
I have faint memories of this. Like I read some things. Like it dominated for like a day. I think not
Hmm.
not more than that.
Yeah. And yeah, it
All
was they quickly dealt with it also. I think
Yep,
yeah
yep,
that
yeah
was
yeah.
yeah.
very also.
They did.
I remember this was also because I don't know if I'm getting the timeline correct, but this was also around when the uprising was happening in Sri Lanka, where people stormed
Yeah,
the palace and
Well, did it
everything.
happen at the
yeah.
same time?
I'm not sure,
It
but I
was
think
I mean,
before this, I
I
think.
think it happened. Oh, okay.
hmm,
I think
Yeah.
it was no, or was it after? It was sometime during that
somewhere
time.
around. Yeah.
Mm,
I'll
But
have
Sri
to check
Lanka was
actually.
starting to make news about the unrest in Sri Lanka was
Hmm,
yes.
starting to
I
make
think
hmm,
it
news.
happened
hmm.
after.
Huh.
I don't think it
Okay.
had happened already. But yeah, this was it was a big thing for Sri Lanka also.
Hmm. It was absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is where we are taking a break. And
Okay.
after the break, I will bring you event number 2 from June 2022. See you
Sure.
after the break.
Hey everyone, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. Attention please! Your favorite finance podcast is getting bigger and better. For all you loyal listeners, we present you Club Paisa Vaisa. What's special? Well, get the latest episodes 3 days before release, content that is ad-free, bonus content and access to the full show archive. So get your yearly membership today for only rupees 6.99. Log on to club.ivmpodcast.com/paisavaisa. On Cyrus Says, joining Cyrus is his friend, comedian and actor Suresh Menon. Their conversation ranges from taking digs at one another to Suresh's current corporate stint. On this round is on me. Gauri welcomes the pioneer of the Indian fine dining business, Rahul Akerkar. They talk about the ins and outs of creating a successful restaurant brand and Rahul's journey so far. On Pop Rap, Snehil, Abbas and Antariksh discuss the movies and TV shows they are looking forward to the most in 2023. And on the origin of things, Chuck drops hints about one of the most famous figures in the world of rock music. Tune into the episode to find out who it is. Once again, do not forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have got some super cool and exciting stuff over there for you and your loved ones. Follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, do spread the word. You know, it really helps us a lot. And of course, do not forget to rate and review our shows wherever you are listening to them. You can also find all our video shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcast. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Kotak Privilege Program, Capgemini, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hello, welcome back to Explain Like I'm 10. Today we are asking what happened in 2022. It's basically a list of all the events that happened in 2022, and Abbas and Niveditha are reacting to it
Yes.
mildly. So,
Should
okay,
we be more
event number 2.
shocked at some of these things?
Yeah, because
What?
I mean, we can't be because it's not like it's a video or something. It's just,
Yeah, it's true.
oh yeah, that
It
thing that
is.
happened, that horrible thing that happened in June. Like whatever, you
Uh,
can't be like happy about this. You got to be a little morose. It's not.
I
It's
know,
not a
because
fun.
most of these events are very tragic.
Yeah,
yeah.
none of it's not like
I'm
YouTube Rewind.
वही मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि कोई कप वप नहीं जीतेंगे. Did we win something? Did something happen?
Nothing happened. Hey, I think you
Speaking
missed
of,
like I
yeah,
think Pragnanda, someone won Magnus Carlsen in one
I
of
have no
that
idea.
happened in that month, somewhere June, right? When
But
did that
the
happen? I
second
think it
story is
happened in
about to
June.
come. Maybe it's that.
Oh, I'm sorry, is it?
it's not, but it is a happy
Oh.
story, guys.
It's a happy story. I thought you would
You
have
know.
some happy stories in you.
Should I tell you?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
please.
The Agnipath scheme is announced.
Oh,
Ah.
Uh, Agniveer scheme, Agnipath nahi,
yeah,
the
Oh, we
yeah, yeah.
spoke
Agniveer
about
scheme
this
is
so much
announced.
on Cyrus Says.
Hmm.
We did?
We did.
I mean, I wasn't there, so.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So Agniveer scheme was announced. According to the scheme, youth between the age of 17 and a half and 21 will be inducted for a 4-year tenure in the Indian Army, and
Mm.
25% of those will then be recruited into a permanent service. The salary for an Agniveer will be 30,000 per month, which will go up to 40,000 on the 4th year. 9,000 would be deducted each time and put into a corpus. Then, after 4 years after their tenure is over, each Agniveer will be given 11.7 lakh rupees, which would be income tax free. Defense Minister said that the Agniveers will also be given priority in jobs, both state and private, although I don't know how he promised private jobs also. This announcement led to massive protests across the
Hmm.
country, where people were very upset that this is happening. What did you discuss on Cyrus Says?
I think Shreyas was talking about he did a whole act about him wanting to be
And Agniveer,
an
yeah, yeah.
Agniveer.
That became
Oh,
a recurring bit
It did.
in various
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
okay. So that is what you spoke about, Shreyas becoming an Agniveer.
No, but I remember this very clearly, and I think there was this 8 or 9 minute rant by one youngster who was protesting, which went viral. I think it was for the BBC, where I could see it everywhere, and this guy was literally just laying out what the youth of this country has to go through, and just to get a simple job,
Yeah.
just to get some sort of employment, and yeah, that was that. I remember that, and. This again seemed like one of those hasty decisions that this government takes, like demonetization or lockdown, where massive things are announced like at the drop of a hat.
Hmm.
Like there is no time given for
It's like
preparation or anything
throwing
like that.
people to the wolves
Yeah, yeah,
all of a
something
sudden.
like
Yeah.
that. So
Scary.
this again seemed like one of those sort of decisions. But I remember,
I'm
yes,
I'm
it was
actually I'm actually one of those people who supports this.
okay.
Mm.
um that's the thing. So like whenever I say this, it's like, what, how can you support this? But I know for a fact that in our union budget, there are two things that eat up a lot of our money. One is defense,
Hmm.
and the other is interest payment on loans and borrowings that our government has done. But the
Hmm.
defense money that we give out in salaries and pensions every month is nuts. It's actually
Hmm.
quite big.
Hmm.
And of course we give out salaries and etc to government employees in general. So I am of the view that just government shouldn't employ that many people. And
Okay.
essentially what this is doing is that it is creating like a reserve troop force for us, which is like the 4 years that these people are in service.
Hmm.
25% of them will be recruited into the army later, because
Hmm.
हमारा requirement भी इतना नहीं है अभी. So
Hmm.
as weapons advance, as technology becomes better, etc., the number of bodies we need to put into the armies is also going
Right.
down, right? So
Right.
the
Mm.
Right.
government is sort of thinking on that term also, that
Yeah.
हमको नहीं चाहिए अब इतने लोग आर्मी में. इफ वी आर मतलब एक तरफ तुम लोग राफेल भी ला रहे हो और एक तरफ तुम लोग रिक्रूट
Ah.
भी कर रहे हो, both things
Ah.
don't work. So
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah,
general view.
I remember some BJP minister made this statement के वो सर्व करने के बाद फिर वो यहाँ आके चौकीदार बन सकते हैं. He can be the
Oh
watchman
yes,
for
yes,
the BJP headquarters. Yeah, I remember that. It was quite
that
an
was
irresponsible
Narottam
statement.
Mishra, if I'm not
Yes.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said that all these Agniveers, I will employ them as chowkidars at
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay
It's
then.
not what.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, thanks for ruining it for everybody, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
This was also the month which you mentioned this happening, Abbas. Kanhaiya
Hmm.
Lal was beheaded
Mm.
Okay.
this
Yeah.
month. And another thing happened. Muhammad Zubair was arrested for a tweet which he made in 2018 based on a complaint made by someone called Hanuman Bhakt. The tweet
Yes.
had a screenshot from a movie released in 1982. So
Yes.
that also happened, yes. And
Insane.
Zubair was arrested and he was kept for like a good two,
Hmm.
3 months after that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah. Where were you guys in June, by the way?
I don't quite remember. So I joined IVM back in May, so I was still kind of getting back into the groove of things here.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it started raining late here in Bombay, so June was also pretty hot,
Yeah,
and we were all just waiting for
Oh.
the rains to somehow just
subside.
arrive. Yeah.
I like how your memory is always based on weather of
Weather.
Bombay.
See, either sweating by because of the heat, or you're getting flooded because of the rains.
Of
Sardi to
course,
hai nahi, so I don't
of
know.
course.
There's two ways
Niv,
Mumbai
where
can
were
be.
you?
I was here in Mumbai trying to figure things out. I don't know what to say. My life this year has been pretty weird because in the first half I wasn't doing much. In the second half I'm doing a lot. So it's a weird. It's been a weird year.
We are entering the good phase of Nivedita's life, which is the
Yeah.
second half. So,
Yeah.
Uh,
okay, July 2022. Event number one. Eknath Shinde challenged his party
oh.
boss Uddhav Thackeray and threatened to leave with 40 MLAs. Then they went off to Assam to stay in a resort where Shinde took pictures of himself playing chess. Nobody seemed to notice that the chessboard was arranged all wrong. Meanwhile, Uddhav Thackeray resigned and Shinde was subsequently sworn in as chief
Yeah,
minister.
yeah.
Technically, this started in June and it
Hmm,
culminated around July.
hmm.
So, yeah, that was a big event that happened. Of
Yeah,
course,
not
we
not
spoke
very
about
sad,
it.
not very happy. This is one we can react to properly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you
Wait.
ask me, yeah, go ahead, Meghnad.
It's fine.
No, she said she was not sad or happy. So you're neutral about this.
Yeah, this is yeah, okay, whatever. It's not, it doesn't affect us in any way. It's just news that you think about and then gossip, tell your friends. Can you imagine this happened? And show the picture of him with a bad chessboard, a badly arranged chessboard. It's like just one of those things.
Spoken
No,
like a true South Bombay person.
yeah, true centrist.
True centrist.
Whatever.
So
I remember talking about this on
yeah,
Cyrus Says also.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This was also a big. I remember Cyrus had gone to Spain for his holiday, and in that one
Right.
Yeah.
week, by the time he came
Yeah.
back, the chief minister had
Yeah.
Oh,
changed.
that
So
happened. Right?
yeah, but I'm one of those who was a little sad to see Uddhav go. I think that not that the COVID situation was easy on any chief minister, but I think he did handle it well.
Yeah.
And at least certain things like the Islamophobic dog whistling that happened in the beginning of the lockdown, at least I didn't witness that in Maharashtra or most parts of Maharashtra.
Yeah.
And I have to say though, the day the change happened, our producer Nikhil, I think this is the most excited I've ever seen him, because he was following everything, update by update, and it was assumed that Devendra Fadnavis would take the chief minister's chair.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
I remember I was in some recording, and as soon as the recording ended, he ran in. Did you see the news? I was like, no, what happened? Dude, Eknath Shinde is the chief minister, not Devendra Fadnavis. So it was like that twist that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like
No,
a
but I realize this politics is so regional in a sense, in the sense that like it wouldn't affect me that much because I know a lot of people around me who are very sad about Uddhav Thackeray, and it didn't affect
Hmm.
me that much because I think I haven't lived here long enough
yeah, maybe.
to be
Yeah.
affected
Yeah,
by
yeah,
it.
yeah,
If I was in Tamil Nadu and something happened like this in Tamil Nadu politics, it would
of
affect
course.
me a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
all
yeah.
of us,
Yeah.
like things would stop running normally for
Hmm.
a while and stuff,
Yeah.
So it's just it's a geography thing, politics a lot of the times.
No, I'm always happy because Devendra Fadnavis is my man. He lives in my neighborhood. So any sort of power he gets, I'm like, ha ha, bilkul, mera hi to aadmi hai." So it's good. I'm also being that person. Okay,
Yeah, are we
event
allowed
number
to be a
2.
little selfish in
Yeah,
politics?
everybody has their
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah, yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. Now this is me. I'm very selfish now. Call me whatever you want. Um, so event number 2. Senior TMC leader and minister in government of West Bengal, Partha Chatterjee and his aide Arpita Mukherjee were arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in
Yes, yes,
connection
yes.
with the West Bengal School Service Commission teacher recruitment scam.
Hmm.
ED recovered 21.2 crore in cash,
Hmm.
jewelry worth 79 lakh, and 54 lakh in foreign currency from his multiple
Yeah,
houses.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was a big news, and that also happened for a while. I
Yeah.
remember. Because of course, like Mamta Banerjee ko ab to mas latadna hai to.
Huh.
That
I
was
remember
great.
this.
And this was when the enforcement directorate put like the notes in like that ED
Shape,
format.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then, like, it's like well played. Okay, two other small events. Draupadi Murmu was sworn in as the 15th president of
Yeah,
India.
yeah.
And bonus event, after a very successful 5-year stint in the Indian independent website News Laundry, the associate editor Meghnad Sahasrabhojani gave his resignation. He
Oh, that
joined
happened
IBM
this year.
podcast as creative director nonfiction. He then went on to launch Explain Like I'm 10, this very podcast that you're listening to.
Damn.
Historic
Yeah.
event, guys.
I know,
Happy
yes.
5 months.
Happy 5 months. Yes. Um. Okay. Coming to August 2022, right?
Niveditha
So
joined IBM.
Oh.
that is one of the events actually. So thanks, Niv. I should have been like, I didn't know when Abbas joined. I would have added that.
I
That
know,
was in
yeah.
May. Nitish Kumar resigned as the chief minister of Bihar.
Yes.
So after the Maharashtra crisis, this was the other
Yes.
crisis that happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
This was after his party, Janata Dal United, left the BJP National Democratic Alliance. He joined forces with RJD and Congress to form the new government.
Hmm.
That is what happened. So minor event, but major event. Nothing
Yeah.
much to say about that, I guess.
Hmm.
The second event, though, 11 convicted rapists were released on the occasion of Bharat Ka Amrit
Hmm.
Mahotsav. These people were involved in the brutal attacks on Bilkis Bano's family during the 2002 riot. Recently, Supreme Court has rejected the plea made by Bilkis Bano to look into the matter.
Yeah, yeah.
So these are the two events that happened. Another big event that happened this year, which is worth mentioning, is the Noida Super Tech Twin Towers demolition.
Yes.
The most biggest demolition that India has ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
It was nuts.
I know,
I
like
was
it was a perfectly made event for news channels to fill their airtime, and I think they made the
Yeah.
most of it.
Yeah, and it was quite a spectacle, to be honest.
Mhm.
I was like, and then they were like, oh, controlled demolition karenge, ye idhar se udhar se bomb lagayenge, all the things. It was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Any events that you want to mention?
In August, nothing that comes to mind.
This
What
was
about
around
you?
I was just
Independence
thinking
Day.
how uneventful it was that like watching a building get demolished was the biggest, like the biggest, most entertaining event that happened at the time. That's hilarious.
No, and the funny thing about that was that because this was this residential complex where this building was,
Yeah.
they were going from neighbor to neighbor. आपको कैसा लग रहा है? How do you feel about it? And they're like, हाँ हमको तो मतलब कल रात को evacuate कर दिया. We don't know what is going to happen. All these dust will come into my house and all that things. But
Yeah.
you know, then they put rafters and they were like,
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah,
अब ठीक है, अब हम देखेंगे.
I remember some news channel did a half-an-hour report on how they're taking care of the stray cats and dogs of the area so that
Oh,
they are
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
affected. Yeah.
Many things were happening during that time, so like around the demolition. Okay, September, or as I call it, birthday month. 8 cheetahs were transported from Namibia to Madhya Pradesh because it was Adarniya Pradhan Sevak Narendra Modi ji's happy birthday. He released these 8 cheetahs in the Kuno National Park and took photos with a professional camera. Then someone took photos of him taking photos and shared it with the world. So
Yeah.
that was a very interesting event that happened this month. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. The flora and fauna of the area changed forever because of the
Absolutely.
introduction of these cheetahs.
Yeah, but I like how they do it on his birthday. Huh?
Yeah.
It's just like, हाँ हम 8 चीता लेके आए नामीबिया से, happy birthday sir. What?
I want to see how these cheetahs fare though.
Oh, I
Are
keep
there any
hearing.
updates?
Yeah, I keep hearing something or the other about these cheetahs every few weeks. Something
Oh.
happens. Yeah,
Are they
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, they better
That's all I
watch.
need to
Yeah.
know.
They are okay, but apparently they are affecting the other wildlife which is around.
Yeah,
So
because they're not meant to be
yeah, I
here for a
know.
reason. I
Yeah.
keep thinking about this. You know, when the Chennai cyclone happened in 2016 or something, right? Like I lived in this really posh kind of neighborhood where like
Mhm.
there were a lot of rich people and they all used to import these trees and plant them in their buildings. So
Hmm.
like some
Hmm.
of the places that were most affected were the places where they took these trees from other places and
Hmm.
planted them in Chennai where the soil couldn't hold it
Right.
properly. So
Hmm.
they were the first ones to get
Hmm.
uprooted.
Hmm.
The trees from Chennai, like the ones that are
Stood
local
there.
to our
Yeah, yeah.
soil, stood really strong.
Hmm.
But these other ones that they brought from elsewhere for like decoration purpose,
Hmm.
all of them were uprooted and they fell on the roads and stuff, right? And people are like,
Hmm.
maybe you shouldn't like try to
Are
bring
you
things
trying to
from other
warn us
countries.
about
Yeah.
something,
I'm just
Niveditha?
saying, don't bring cheetahs to India. Just leave them where they are and let them live peacefully.
But
The
apparently,
Serengeti is
cheetahs,
really nice.
the cheetahs went extinct in India. They were, I think, at some point
Yeah,
did
for a
exist in
reason.
India for a reason.
Right.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Hey man, a man's got to celebrate his birthday, okay?
This is my reaction. Unless you're gonna keep him in your bungalow or palace, don't put the cheetahs in the like. We don't know what's gonna happen. Is it like a scientist? That's why I'm asking. Is someone like
N-
watching this?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard that if this
Okay,
was, I mean, people were
maybe it's like
consulted.
some kind of experiment or
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
of
something.
I
course.
don't know.
No,
Hmm.
and cheetahs went extinct because of poaching, right? So they were killed by
During
the
like a long
like a
time ago, though.
long
Like
time ago. Yeah, yeah. Like I think I'll have to check though. I don't want
Hmm.
to give not facts when this is
yeah.
a fact based podcast.
Right.
Oh, okay, got
Um,
it.
yeah, no, but we can check. Um, okay, so event number 2.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, ED and CBI did raids on Manish Sisodia's residence and 40 other locations on the basis of the Delhi liquor scam allegations. It was alleged that Delhi government took bribes from certain vendors and gave them preference for licensing under the new excise policy. This case would continue to haunt up for the coming 3 months, and then it would suddenly stop because elections
I
are
wonder
there.
why.
Yeah. And also, you know what? I am so pissed off about this. Like the
Hmm.
raid wait karte raho tum log. They cancelled the excise policy after that.
Hmm.
Delhi had become heaven
Hmm.
for alcohol consumption. There was free booze given out everywhere. There was like an explosion of variety of the alcohol that you find. All the shops were suddenly spruced up, and now we are back to square one with those very bad government shops again.
Huh.
I'm very pissed off about this. So I thought this is a event worth mentioning.
What mentioned?
Yeah. Um, Two other small events that happened. One was Rajpath was renamed Kartavya Path.
Oh, I
This
had no idea
month.
about this.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know this.
Yeah, Rajpath doesn't exist anymore, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's called Kartavya Path now
Hmm.
because
Okay.
the current government doesn't like ruling.
Yeah,
They
they
just
want
want to remind you that
of your
you need to do
duties.
some
Hmm.
kartavya. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah. And also, this was the month when Rahul Gandhi started his Bharat Jodo Yatra,
Ah,
uh,
okay.
3,751 kilometers
Mm-hmm.
from Kanyakumari to Kashmir.
Hmm.
Wow.
By the way, did you guys read? He is going on holiday.
Oh, I did not. In the
Yeah.
middle of the yatra, like mid
Yeah.
yatra.
Now, like end of the year, जैसे हम holiday पे जा रहे हैं,
Oh,
वैसे
okay.
राहुल जी भी
Oh,
holiday पे जा रहे हैं.
Uh,
yeah, fair
It's
enough.
okay, right? I
yeah.
think
See,
it's okay.
some people get cheetahs for their birthday. Some people
Go
go
on a
on a
holiday.
holiday
Go
to relax.
exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely
Exactly.
prefer people going on a holiday.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nicer thing. Just go
And
enjoy yourself.
he did like walk for 100
Yeah.
days,
Walk.
na?
That's true.
So
Yeah, yeah, of course.
थोड़ा break लेना मांगता है.
चलता है, हाँ.
हाँ. Moving on to October 2022. Okay. Elections for the president of All India National Congress are carried out.
Oh, yes.
Mallikarjun Kharge is elected as the president of the party. First non-Gandhi president after 24 years. He defeated Shashi Tharoor, member of parliament from Kerala. And this was also the month when I got trolled by
Oh, for
Congress
what?
people
Oh,
for
okay.
this.
Oh,
for
wow.
this because I openly came out in support of Shashi Tharoor
Tharoor.
as if it
Yeah,
matters,
yeah, yeah.
and then shit went down. So yeah,
Uh,
uh, any comments on this or next event?
no, I mean, yeah, I mean, just when you think they might get it right by getting someone like I mean, Tharoor winning might have brought some sort of beginning of some sort of a change,
Hmm.
but obviously that did not happen, and we are back to the same old status quo being maintained. And as we record this, Arjun Kharge is in a controversy because he's used some upshabd about the prime minister. So at
Oh
least if Tharoor
yeah,
would have, at least if Tharoor would have said it, it would have sounded eloquent and would have gone over the heads of people.
I'll tell you
Right.
what the shabd was. So
Yeah.
during the Gujarat elections, he called him a 100-headed Ravan or something.
Oh, okay.
Uh, like अलग अलग चेहरे दिखाता
Huh,
रहता है
huh,
type
huh,
something.
huh, huh,
And now in Parliament, because there is this other China thing going on,
huh.
Mallikarjun Kharge got up and he was like suspension notice there, but they were like, "Acha, but you called our prime minister Ravan. Okay, let's talk about that." So
Mm,
essentially,
yeah.
now it's
Sideline.
it's coming up in
Mm,
Parliament.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Got it. Mm.
Okay, event number 2. A footbridge collapsed in Morbi,
Mm,
Gujarat, killing 141 people, which is seen to be as one of the worst disasters, bridge disasters, collapses that has happened in India. This happened 2 days after it was opened again after renovation. Later, reports found that quality checks were not done before opening it up and crowd management failed, causing the tragedy.
mm.
News channels were showing old videos of people jumping on a bridge that is literally called Jhulto Bridge, meaning swinging bridge.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that happened in October as well.
Yeah.
um, I think we also spoke about this on page 10.
I
No, that
think
was our pilot.
it might have been a pilot that went unaired, but yeah, we did discuss this in studio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that
And
also happened
this,
in October. You
yeah, that
discussed
also
it.
happened in October. Yeah. Oh, also, this was actually one of the events which people were suddenly saying, "Oh, ab to BJP harega.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
But
Gujarat elections mein
as we
harega."
will see in the next month.
Yeah, exactly. Another small news item that happened: Samajwadi Party chief, veteran
Oh,
leader
yes.
Mulayam Singh Yadav passed
Passed away.
in this
Mm.
month.
Hmm.
Okay, last 2 months, guys, it
Yes.
got very exciting very suddenly. Uh, November 2022, a man named Aftab killed his girlfriend Shraddha Walkar
Yeah.
by strangling her.
One
Okay,
of my
trigger warning.
one of my stories that I had.
One of your stories, yes.
Reveal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Reveal.
Mm.
Absolutely
Trigger,
terrifying.
absolutely terrifying. Trigger warning. He then chopped the body into 35 pieces and disposed it. He was caught by the police department during the act.
No, but
Lots
that's
of
what I'm so confused. Does that really happen? Was it during the I don't think so.
I saw
During
like
the
two
act?
reports which said this during the act of disposal.
I
So
think
I'm
yeah,
not
during
sure.
disposal. So when he was getting
Yeah,
rid of the body parts is
When
when
the
they caught
police
him.
oh
Yeah.
my
yeah,
And he
god.
was
exactly.
disposing them in a methodical manner over many days. So on one of
Hmm.
those days, I believe he was caught. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of media coverage happened on this incident with lurid details of how he did it coming out. It was, I mean, the details, after a point, I sort of zoned out of it because
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
didn't want to.
Yeah.
And the man said he was inspired by Dexter,
Yeah.
and now he's asking for books in jail or something is happening. So that was a big incident. That was Niv's incident,
Yeah. What do
the
you mean?
event
Oh,
that you,
one of the
the
two
Yeah,
event
one
major
of
that
them.
you
incidents.
picked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Why did you pick this?
It's just it's here's the thing. There's certain things that hit really close. Look, first of all, like you need to understand this couple was like very liberal,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
modern.
Modern.
It represented this whole live-in relationship where he fought for her sort of thing, fought his family and took her to Delhi to live together because his family didn't approve of her or something. I think they were just trying to
Hmm.
save her life, honestly. And now that you think of it, but it also changed everything for like how people view relationships and
Yeah.
single women living alone, people living
Hmm.
together. All of this will change. Like, and I get it to a certain extent. Like, no one wants to be, when I don't know, it just affects your life directly, these type of stories, and you're also
Hmm.
afraid, you get even more paranoid than you were before about going
Hmm.
out, meeting new people, strangers, and
Also
how
dating
people can
apps.
lie. Yeah, and this guy
Yeah.
like posed as some kind of feminist, liberal,
Yeah, yeah.
awesome
Hmm.
dude that
Hmm.
like stood up for
Yeah.
people, like his, his that whole thing. But it turns out he's like a murderer who
Yeah.
you can't even like judge what a person is going to be like.
Yeah. And
And
he
then
got a date after the whole incident was done also
Yeah,
in
a
yeah.
his
lot of
house.
times,
All the details. Yeah.
and the
It was
fact that he
horrifying.
blamed pop culture for it, like this keeps
Yeah.
happening.
Hmm.
Now you blame,
Exactly.
or like, it's just, it's insane.
Yeah. Uh, moving on to event two.
Yep.
Yeah. The government appointed Arun Goel as the new election commissioner.
Hmm.
This was a post that was lying vacant from May. The Supreme Court questioned that what was the tearing hurry since he was appointed in under 24 hours. So he was vetted and appointed in
Yeah,
24
yeah.
hours. That was a big thing.
This we have discussed on the first episode of
Yeah.
Page 10. Yeah, yeah.
Page 10.
Hmm.
Uh, Page 10 was launched in
Yes.
November. Yes. Abbas's podcast, Page 10,
Current
on this
affairs
very
podcast.
channel,
Yes.
yes, was launched. D.Y. Chandrachud also took oath as the
Ah.
50th Chief Justice of India,
Mhm.
succeeding U. Lalit.
Hmm.
Okay. Last month, December 2022.
Yeah.
Any predictions?
Uh, what
Which is this
happened this
month.
month?
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, in hindsight, when you're listening to this, but no, please enlighten us. Nivedita, you have a guess?
Honestly, it's been a pretty uneventful month for me. I haven't got anything. Like,
Okay,
no.
biggest news, BJP wins Gujarat
Oh
with
yes, of
landslide
course.
victory.
Is it even
Oh,
a news?
oh
I
yeah.
mean, guys, please.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I
Sure.
mean,
yeah,
huge.
Yeah, sure.
But
huge, huge.
like,
Yeah,
Record-breaking numbers.
it feels like
yeah,
such a
record
long
breaking
time
numbers.
ago. It doesn't feel like it
I know.
happened this
Yeah.
month. I feel like now that you're saying it, I was like, did that happen
Yeah.
last year?
Congress won Himachal Pradesh, and
Yes.
Aam Aadmi Party won the Municipal Corporation of
Mm,
Delhi elections.
mm, mm.
So that happened this
Yes.
month. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second thing that happened, Indian soldiers clashed with Chinese soldiers at the Tawang border of
Yep.
Arunachal Pradesh. No
Mhm.
casualties were reported. 20 Indian soldiers were injured, and an unconfirmed number, probably larger number, from the Chinese side was injured too.
Mm,
Rajnath Singh released a statement 5 days after the incident happened, one day after it was reported, saying India managed to push back the aggression from the Chinese. There are still 10 days left in this month.
mm.
Must tell the listeners.
At the
We are
time of
recording on
recording, yeah, yeah.
December 20th. So 10 days में
Yeah.
और क्या होगा पता नहीं.
We
So
might have to
Anything
lots of
re-record
can
time.
this last
happen.
bit. Emergency. You never know.
Yeah. But
as
so
as of
Niv,
now, it's still a
your
happy
God.
end of the year. Like, okay, not
Yeah.
exactly, but kind of.
Hopefully.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully सब छुट्टी पे जा रहे हैं, so nothing will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nivedita, what were your two events again?
The hijab controversy and the
And the
murder of
Shraddha
the.
Walkar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Shraddha Walkar.
Yeah.
Abbas, your two events?
Mine, so one we spoke about, which was the Nupur Sharma controversy, which happened in
Hmm.
June. The second one, actually, we didn't speak directly about, but you hinted at it in the beginning. I had the Wire and Facebook fiasco, which
Yeah.
happened in October,
Ah.
which I thought was maybe it was more of a media story. It affects the image and the workings of the media more than the whole country. But I thought it was a very eventful thing that the that an independent journalistic body accused one of the biggest social media platforms in the world of uh, being irresponsible and taking stories off at the behest of one person from the government, and then they were proven
Yeah.
wrong, and it was they had to later retract those stories. So I think,
Hmm.
yeah, at a time where the media and journalistic ethics anyways is being seen in a questionable manner, it's more of a duty, I think, of the media to do things responsibly. So
Yeah.
I had that as one of the major events of the year.
Interesting. So basically,
Yeah,
tech fog is what I got. So
yeah.
technically, I did mention
Technically, we
it.
did
So
cover it. Yes, true.
technically, yes. Because after the tech fog thing, I was like, I'm not going to mention it again in October because
Yeah,
I mean, वहीं पे
Yeah.
connected event है तो फिर.
Yeah, but you did say,
So
you did mention at the time that this was
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
story. Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did
mm,
reveal.
You don't think Meghnad Ravish quitting NDTV was an
I mean, it
eventful
was actually pretty eventful, though.
no, I had
event?
options, so I have noted it down. Like
Of
Adani
course.
takes over NDTV,
Yeah, yeah,
Ravish
yeah.
quits NDTV, all the things. But then I
Hmm.
was like, I have to pick two major events and some side
Right.
events, right? So
You had
I
to pick the
was like,
greatest
बहुत
hits.
छाटा है मैंने.
Huh.
Yeah. Like कल बैठ के आज बैठ के बहुत छाटा है मैंने events.
Okay.
So that's what this was. I
Hmm.
hope that was great. Any
It was,
other
yeah,
closing
yeah, yeah.
comments? Yeah.
I mean, Argentina won the World Cup.
Oh,
Let's throw
man.
that in as well.
There's going to be more people watching football after that match, honestly.
Yeah, not an Indian occurrence, but still a
Not
big,
an Indian
big event
occurrence.
nonetheless. The
A lot of
controversy.
Indians would
I was just
not
about to
agree
say
with
that.
you.
Yeah, I
They
mean
would be
Yeah.
the
like, it was personal to me.
no, the
Yeah.
controversy around the World Cup in Qatar had to do with Indian workers, so
That's
there is
true.
some Indian connect there. So yeah, but yeah, quite a year.
Um, quite a year, quite a
Yeah,
year, and like your sigh is just like poignant
You
sigh
know,
there.
as you grow older, all years seem the same. It's like I'm just counting down to my death at this point.
uh,
1 year gone, another like whatever years to go, but here I
yeah.
come
Any
with
Yeah.
events you're
another
looking
world.
forward to in the coming year, Meghnad?
Any events I'm looking forward to?
Mm.
Uh, not not really.
Uh,
Interesting question. I'm not sure if there
mm.
is anything I'm looking forward to. I
Okay.
think the by the end of the year, the campaign for 2024 will start.
Exactly.
So I'm
Yeah, yeah,
looking
Yeah.
yeah.
forward to those sort of developments
Mm,
leading
mm,
up to 2024,
mm.
which I think mid next year is when it will start happening.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
rallies, all the things. I'm also very interested to see where this Bharat Jodo Yatra ends up. What happens to it like
yeah.
after that, what sort of
True.
impact it has. I think that will be fun.
I'm a
Also,
little. I
Aam
mean,
Aadmi Party's expansion is what I'm looking forward
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm interested in what happens when he gets closer to Kashmir, because that's where the more controversial or the more
Hmm.
the this thing areas are. But yeah, it'll
Hmm.
be interesting to see.
I think till Srinagar it should be fine. Like Jammu
Yeah.
se Srinagar
Mm.
it should be fine. But it will be freakishly cold there.
Cold, I know. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like
But all the more reason, that much more cinematic visuals. Na, he'll wear a
yeah.
shawl or
Hmm.
a sweater or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And like
yeah.
his whole beard and vibe
Of
is now
course,
like
yeah,
that, right? So yeah, the vibe. I hope
yeah,
holiday जाके वो काट वाट के नहीं आएगा. Like
yeah. I don't know
let's hope.
what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
I think it
Mm.
suits him. But yeah, enough about Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah.
Uh, thank you for listening to Explain Like I'm 10. Announcement for next year in a week from you watching this channel which you are watching this on, audio and video both. Uh, there is a name change that is going to happen because we are launching How to Citizen Season 2,
Woohoo!
Woo!
which we have worked hard since September to shoot, and
Yes.
we have like some nutty people this time, right? And one hint is that the state that we just spoke about, there is someone from there who will
Yeah.
come on episode 1 and
Mm.
read the 7th grade CBSE civics book with us, because society is regressing, so are we. So 8th grade se hum 7th grade
Seventh
tak
grade
pahunch
पे आ
gaye.
गए. हाँ.
Keep watching this channel, keep following this feed. Abbas's show, page
Yes.
10, is also on this.
Yep.
ELI 10 is on this, and now we are adding one more show. So big name reveal will happen next week. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
See you all. Bye bye.
Bye.